Hey there everyone, how are you all doing today? I am the Perpetual Noob. Welcome to another episode of my noobish playthrough of Dragon's Dogma. So we are finally back from my hiatus, mainly caused by the Souls-Giving community event. If you've been watching that playthrough, thank you. I hope you've been enjoying my terrible ability. And I hope you also realize that that's just how difficult Souls games are, because if you've been following my gameplay with Dragon's Dogma, you've seen that, sure, I'm not amazing, I'm not, like I said, I'm certainly no pro player. There's a lot of whiffs and a lot of misses with my abilities and my sword swings, but then you watch and you see me play Demon Souls, and I die a lot. So yeah, anyways, we're finally back with some more Dragon's Dogma. Today we are ascending the Bluemoon Tower, and we are going to take on the Griffin. I do apologize for that. Oof. It's never fun when another great weapon wielder uses an ability against you and knocks you flat on your ass. But hey, at least, the enemies do the same thing that you can do. So, today we're ascending Bluemoon Tower. We're going to deal with the Griffin. I do apologize for the lights going out there every couple of moments, but that is what Maelstrom does. It actually will blind you as well, which is, I won't lie, is kind of annoying. But hey, I guess they want realism for the spells, so the fireballs explode and kind of blind you a little bit, and if you're too close to Maelstrom, you're not going to see a damn thing. Oh, anyways, so the footage that really wasn't, that I unfortunately lost, or maybe didn't even record, showed me eventually, as I noted in a previous episode, that, oh, that tower way off in the distance along the coast, that was Bluemoon Tower. That was exactly where I needed to go. So I made my way there, and this is where we are now. Finally at Bluemoon Tower, finally going to take on that giant Griffin and, kick some ass. Well, kick as much ass as I can do. So, we'll see. And right now, just dealing with a whole lot of skeleton mages. Well, skeleton mages, skeleton dudes. I'm not entirely sure why there's so many, undead running around in this Bluemoon Tower. I mean, they kind of suggest that, hey, that's where the Griffin went to hide, and yet for some reason, you're here, and there's just all these skeletons. Yeah, the harpies made sense. Another bird-like creature. But then there's all these skeleton mages. Skeleton warriors. But honestly, I'm not gonna complain. I have the quest to collect 66 skulls, and skeleton enemies have the chance to drop skulls and kill them. And actually right there I completed a quest to kill so many skeletons. I don't remember how many it was, top of my head. But it wasn't too much. Something in like I think like 20 or 15. So just taking a moment to heal up, trying to keep myself topped off, because I know that because this quest had cutscenes, this fight is going to be pretty epic. Again, like I've said in some previous episodes, quests that involve cutscenes are going to be a bit bigger, going to be a bit more important. They're generally story quests. So I'm really looking forward to the giant fight that's coming once I eventually, reach the top of this Bluemoon Tower. Oh, and once again, knocked flat on my ass. So, as you also saw when we were taking a little bit of grass, healing up, seems to be a common theme. You saw that we're now level 44. I think in the previous episode we were 42. So we did actually get quite a bit of experience for completing No Honor Among Thieves and actually just fighting our way all the way out to Bluemoon Tower. Because honestly, Bluemoon Tower is incredibly is incredibly far away. To have to go, well, very well north, and then pretty far to the northeast. And there was actually one time, one portion of that trek, and we'll actually see it in a couple later episodes where I don't lose the footage, and show me trekking all the way back to Bluemoon Tower, because there are some more quests that have to be done here. But it was a really nifty mechanic where you walk through a bit of a canyon, and they're like, oh, it's windy, and so it's going to actually be tricky. And holy crap, see? Look at the size of that. That is a huge monster. And this is what we're supposed to fight. And it's probably about one of these times where I say, oh, I really wish I had some ranged attacks. But you know, that's the drawback to wielding a giant sword. So this fight actually had a lot of different elements to it. As you can see, we got this gate, then we got to run. And honestly, it was a little confusing. You know, as things were happening, I couldn't really tell what we were supposed to do. You know, I saw those guys rushing straight ahead. I saw stairs to our right, and I said, well, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna go explore. What's the worst that could happen? And actually, I ended up getting quite a few great curative items. I mean, you saw me pick up the interventive. Those things are actually fantastic. They essentially cure almost everything. And I'd say I probably have way too many now. It's something like 18 or 19 even by this point in the game. So I don't ever need to use them. And then, yep, totally make a bad call and toss myself right over the edge. But one really nifty thing, look at that. It doesn't go to the whole, hey, you've died, let's do the retry thing. You know, let's get you back to the checkpoint. No, instead I just pop right back up, which was really nice. It kind of reminded me a bit of like a Zelda game, or at least, you know, I can remember at least Ocarina of Time, when you die and instead of being like sent back to, oh, would you like to retry or load from your last checkpoint, they're just like, here, have a little bit of damage. You know, you've lost a heart. And yeah, it did take me, you know, 10 to 20 seconds to realize, oh, there's a lever. I can't just bust open this door. Well, okay. So I do attempt to, again, not fully understanding how this fight was supposed to go. Like, at this point, I thought, are we supposed to be attacking the Griffin right now? You know, and poor Sir Wesley. But, boom, look at that. Yep. Griffin jumps in front, instantly drops down. And, I apparently wasn't looking. Yeah. And then get one-shotted. Which seemed a little ridiculous, because I didn't know that the Griffin was gonna, like, this is one of those events where you kind of go, what the heck? So really, it's gonna be trial and error, because there's no indication that, oh, the Griffin's gonna smash down, it's gonna blow up the bridge, the walkway, and you're gonna fall. It's like, okay, but at least, you know, they set you back and they're like, hey, there you go, you're back up where you need to be. But then you rush forward to get to the door, like you do even right here at the very beginning. You rush to the door, you break it open, and you continue on. But there, you attempt that, and boom! The Griffin one-shots you. What? Okay, so hang on. You know, the event itself just seems very almost like they didn't want you to actually pay attention to the event. They wanted you to just play safe and cautiously, but they're like, here's all this intense music, this Griffin is chasing you, we're going to suggest that you like try to move as fast as possible, you're going to try to run. Oh, but when you do that, you're going to blow up, and we're going to kill you. And you know what, maybe if I had more health, or higher defenses, maybe I would have been able to survive. I don't know. Oh, and by the way, all those large nuts, turn those into balmy perfumes. Because balmy perfumes and balmy incense are like some of the best healing items in the game. Because they're great, you know, full team heal. Oh, and a skull. Which is... I'm still not at 66 skulls. That's... Yeah, how nuts is that? Even where I'm at in the game now, I'm not at 66 skulls. I'm well off right now. In this particular episode, I think I'm at somewhere like 30. But right now where I'm at in the game, I'm only at like 50 something. Takes forever. It's taking forever. But so I don't know, the pacing of this particular event just seemed off. You know, they're like, oh, rush, and look at all this intense action that's happening around you, and you need to do stuff. But then, you know, but then they do stuff like that. And, so that, you know, you gotta... And then you gotta dodge this, because you're like, oh, I gotta know and what's going on. Oh, yeah. And that happened. Second time around, or I should say, first time around, nobody died. Well, I fell, but apparently that didn't kill me, just popped me right back up. But no, second time around, I'm playing cautious, I know what's going to come and happen, and my lady B falls and dies. Yeah, it was at this point that I kind of freaked out and went, okay, wait. One, because there goes my sorcerer, there goes my main magic damage dealer, and also my main magic ranged, you know, damage dealer. I essentially have just me and then Vesperia right now, which are, you know, the two melee members of this party. And then we've got Molly, which is a mage. And see, that one hits, that attack hits, and look, it's scripted that the Griffin will bust down the door. But there's nothing telling you that. And then the only thing that's telling you that, oh, you should probably run, is the fact that the camera angle swaps to this. But then again, where's, like, the Griffin disappears, and you're kind of like, okay, where to go? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, here it is, and now it's going really fast. It was... Yeah, it was cool to do this. Like, the whole idea of the event was really cool, and the running and having to avoid all the holes. But I don't know, I feel like they just kind of missed something by introducing that trial and error kind of component to it, and they missed something by, you know, giving you the, okay, first door, break it down. You gotta smash it up. Second door, you gotta get around it and pull a lever. Third door, you get to just stand in front of it and wait for the game to say, okay, the Griffin now blows it up. It's kind of one of those things where you're like, wait, but why? Okay, I guess, alright, I guess, yeah, now I'll just wait. So yeah, second time around, my pawn dies. So now I'm without my main ranged damage dealer, and I was really, I was just, you know, it's weird that the game will put you back, you know, you'll fall, and they'll put you back at the top like nothing ever happened. But then, you know, a pawn does the same thing, and they're like, nope, she's dead. Screw it. Sucks to be you. You're gonna have to go with only 3 people rather than 4. It was just something that kind of, again, something just kind of bothered me. Didn't obviously stop me from playing. It was definitely a minor nuisance. But I can definitely tell you that when she did fall, my first thought was going back to like when you lose a support pawn. When you lose them, they're just gone. You never get them back unless you try to summon them back again. But you got to search for them out in the rift and then bring them back. And they don't have anything on them anymore. They've lost all the items. They just lose all the items that they had on them. And, yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know that stone steps are incredibly slippery? Especially if you're not really paying attention to what you're doing. So with my pawn dead, I was thinking, oh my god, did she just lose all the woo skull?
The stairway.
But
Do not let down your guard.
are you all of a sudden is all of her stuff that she was carrying gone? Because damn it, she was carrying a lot of stuff. Yes, another skull. And crap, I didn't want to lose that stuff. So now I'm in rage mode, and it's time to go after this Griffin, which unfortunately for me means I gotta jump and slash at it. But I couldn't help but notice this really shiny object, and I was kind of, I don't know, my brain was starting to think that, oh, somehow this will work kind of like Seath the Scaleless fight in Dark Souls, where you actually gotta like blow up and the object in the room so you can finally damage Seath. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe that's kind of like this. This is where the Griffin gains its power or something. No, it's not. It's just a poor crystal, which is cool too. I mean, that's something I've been kind of wondering about, is that there's been no way to really fast travel to anywhere else in the game besides Grand Soren. So it was kind of nifty. They're like, here, have an item that you can put somewhere, and I'll let you do that. Yeah. And thank goodness I did this earlier on, much earlier on. I did this little side quest to give this Stefan guy this great sorcerer's tome. The great sorcerer's name is Salament. And he was all like, can you find this tome for me? I said, and of course I was still new, and it's still an RPG, so you're gonna do like every quest you can. So I did. I found the tome for him, and thank goodness I did, because here he is to essentially take the place of my lost pawn, being this, great sorcerer and like the one guy that seems to be able to cause the scripted event of bringing the Griffin down. And I mean, look at the damage we're able to do once it's on the ground. It's already gone through one health bar. We're, I'd say 60% through. Now 3/4%. 3/4 of the way, or 75%. I apologize. My English is clearly terrible today as I record this. But look at that. Actually, we've now gone through 2 health bars. But once it goes into the air again, not really gonna happen. It's I can hit it a little bit, but it really seems to be Stefan that's the main way to keep the Griffin on the ground, or at least bring it down. So I'm glad that the game kind of has that system. I imagine that if I didn't do that quest and I charge right into the wall like a bad, Marvel boss fight or something, like fighting Rhino or something, all he's gonna do is charge into you, and the whole object of it is to, dodge. So he runs into the wall, and he knocks himself a little silly, and that's the time you get to strike. Anyways, what I was saying about Stefan and just the game in general is I like RPGs that do that. That will, be like, hey, but if you notice, he's not doing anything. So I guess the game really scripted his activities, because then all of a sudden he starts up again. But I like that the game said, hey, if you don't do this quest, I'm guessing he won't show up. He won't show up to help you, and he won't have all these spells because he doesn't have the tome. He doesn't have the spell book. But then the game's like, if you do give him, this book, he'll come in for this quest and he'll help you out. And I like games that do that. That kind of make it, yeah, another skull. Yep. Well, this giant Griffin is flying around trying to kill us, not really doing a good job of it. I get kind of bored and just say, fine, I'll just look around for items. And of course we're going to pick up skulls. I can't lose those. One more scripted Stefan fire death. Just one more health bar on this Griffin. But it is a nifty feature when an RPG does that. And I just realized that I think somebody actually oiled that Griffin which is why that last fireball took out like 40% of its health. Because it's really, I mean, that is really nifty that they do that. That, you know, they're like, okay, well, somebody put oil on it, and now everybody's gonna cast fire on, you know, this particular enemy, because, you know, we have synergy like that. You know, if you douse it with water, we'll cast, you know, lightning on it, because it'll hurt more. Just some kind of cool stuff. I know that there's a lot of games that integrate, or at least, you know, make some combos out of their magic, but it's cool to see that in a game. It's just a nifty thing. Ooh, and there's the first ambrosial meat I've ever found. Everything else I've usually found was rotten ambrosial meat.
Did I seem the hero racing to the aid of those in peril?
Yes, you did indeed, Stefan. You did indeed. Thank you very much for doing that. You totally saved my ass.
Upon my arrival, I knew it for a golden opportunity.
So,
no need for thanks, sir.
Where was I? Oh, geez, I just kind of lost my train of thought. So I was talking about the magic, and oh no, the ambrosial meat. Yeah, every other ambrosial meat I found so far is rotten. And there's a particular quest that says you must have 5 kept sour ambrosial meats, which, so far as I've been able to tell, means that you've got to let the meat, you've got to find ambrosial meat, you've got to actually wait long enough to let it sour, and then you actually have to put it into an airtight flask, which is a bit of a process, but kind of nifty all at the same time. You know, kind of cool, but it, again, first ambrosial meat ever found, so it makes me kind of wonder. Makes me kind of wonder how rare that item is, and unfortunately, I did already. I was able to apply some spring water to some rotten ambrosial meat, but only once it was in an airtight flask. So then it technically became kept ambrosial meat, which means it's never going to sour, which makes me wonder if there's any way to like reverse the rotting process without having to put in an airtight flask first. I don't know. I think at the time of this recording I found only one other piece of ambrosial meat that I've allowed to then like sour, and then I've been able to put it into an airtight flask, so I've got 2 pieces and only 3 left. But at this point, that's the first one I've ever found, and it's obviously not soured yet. But that's okay. So, the battle is over. The fight has been won. We lost some good people. Some good NPCs with actual names to them, but I don't remember them because they're NPCs. And if you're playing an RPG, you generally don't need to care about the NPCs. This game kind of makes you, you know, promotes that behavior. I know that there are, I don't know, there's tons of NPCs, but kind of like almost like an Elder Scrolls game.
Let's have a look.
You kind of start like forgetting who's who, because there's just so many. You know, so what do you do? Yes, I broke the bar that was holding the door shut. I could not break that bar from the other side. Nope. Don't have any ability to do that somehow. Don't have a giant sword. Don't have a way to reach through those bars. And so this is where I finally decide, oh yeah, let me start checking it, you know, that weird item I picked up at the beginning of the fight. And then I see it's a pork crystal, and I kind of look at it and go, okay, well, I guess it's cool, but if I try to start using fast travel everywhere, I'm actually not gonna, you know, level up as quickly as I have been, or as consistently as I have been. You know, again, I'm still kind of going at that rate of about a level an hour, which is pretty good now that I'm at level 40. You know, at this point, level 44, and things are getting crazy, and there's, you know, a lot, and it takes a lot of XP to level up. But once I'm back in Grand Zorn, first things first, get my pawn back. Second thing first, what items does she have? And oh, thank God, she still has all of her items. Because look at all that stuff. I would have been very upset if, like, if she somehow got reset, or if she lost all of the items she was carrying. You know, if she kept her equipment, great. But losing all the items she's carrying, it's like, oh, come on, that's a lot of materials. There was a lot of curatives. It just would have been a little upsetting. So now it's time to deal with all the other loot. I know I picked up some rusted daggers. Let's go. You know, I also picked up an assassin's mask, which honestly sounds really cool. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's actually a good mask or a good headpiece, but called an assassin's mask. Just sounds awesome. And picked up a Khalid Bolg, which is, you know, essentially more of a weapon for a Mystic Knight. 'Cause, I mean, look at that. It's got a fair amount of strength, but more magic. And then look at that. First time, my first piece of Griffin armor. And it was kind of a little sad to look at its stats and realize that, wow, the chimeric half plate that I'm wearing is better. You know, and I say that because we just had to take down this Griffin to get this.
You can't go wrong.
That was tough. Like, you know, maybe it wasn't so tough because we weren't taking so much damage and we were actually down a person. So, you know, it wasn't really difficult to do. But it still took way more effort than it does to take down a chimera. Completely jumbled that. But this, and actually, if I can remember, I don't think I actually got the chimeric half plate from that. I think I got it from a quest. But you see, like, when you go into the rift and you start looking at other pawns to summon up, you see so many of them wearing the Griffin armor and wearing full Griffin, you know, like the Griffin helm. Like, even Vesperia, she's wearing the Griffin armor right now. She doesn't have the Griffin helm, but I look at it and was like, oh man, look at all these pawns are wearing it, so it must be good. But then I look at it and go, wait, what? It doesn't provide... Yeah, I get a little bit more of a debilitation resistance, like a new one that I've never... I don't recognize the symbol. I still haven't learned those. I just kind of wing it. But I'm looking at its total numbers, and I'm looking at, like, the stagger resistance, the knockback resistance, and it's not better. You know, and it was just kind of a bit of a letdown that, oh, this armor that I've seen on all these other characters, it looks really cool, and must mean that they've gone really far into the story. Oh, it's really not all that great.
Now, let us talk
Well,
break.
okay, I suppose. Okay. So now looking at what I'm carrying, you'll notice that my item burden is at very heavy. Pretty much, once you reach, at least for my character, once I reach 100, I'm gonna be over encumbered. Doesn't mean I cannot move, it just means it's going to be really difficult to move. And I'm gonna move incredibly slow. I actually don't believe I'll be able to do any rolls or any jumps. Actually, I know I can't jump with that. So it's at this point, you know, after collecting a whole shit ton of stuff, it's time to put it all away. Look at that, 17 skulls from from the last time I checked in. And I think, you know, I found something like 10 of them just in the Bluemoon Tower itself, which is pretty fantastic. So it's time to reduce my item burden, hopefully back down to at least average. You know, I'm sure, actually, I know it'd be best if I was running around at very light, if that was possible, but I actually don't know if that's even possible with the equipment I have, that I have on me, especially right now because I don't have the particular fighter's augment that augments your item burden, which is actually why, if you look at Vesperia's particular I'd say parsing of her item burden, the very light category is really large. I mean, you notice that she's carrying, 36.95 units of weight at this point, and she's still considered to be carrying a light burden, whereas Milady is carrying only 25, and she's already at average. Again, I think it's because it's because of the classes, the augments you chose, and I know Vesperia has the particular fighter augment that allows her to have a really high item burden. And so that's another reason why I'm looking to maybe move as my 4th vocation into the fighter, so I can maybe go for that as well. I don't know. It's not really, like, once I'm down at average item burden, it's not really a big deal. And as you can see, she's already at very light. But, she was at very light by, like, 30 pounds. Or 30 units. I don't know what the actual weight unit would be.
What will it be today?
So, it only becomes a real issue because right now, I'm sitting there at a heavy, and, oh, look at that. 43 skulls. And like I said, right now, I'm somewhere near mid-50s for skulls, and there's actually a fair amount of episodes that are coming between this particular episode and and where I am now in the game. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, having the item burden, be it like average, isn't terrible. The only annoying thing is that I'm almost constantly sitting at like a high average, so I'll pick up 10, 15 items or something, and all of a sudden I'm back at heavy, and then you can actually notice a pretty significant drop in your sprint distance, your time to get to a sprint. And so it's like, okay, well, now I gotta go into and then you guys start doing the micromanaging of like, okay, let me put these items with this pawn, let me put these items on this pawn. Meh. It's, it is what it is. It's how this game decided to handle characters and keep them from carrying thousands of items and still able to run around and jump and not seem to take any and not seem to have any trouble moving. Which, some of the older RPGs allowed you to do. It was kind of ridiculous where you could be running around with 99 of every type of item on your person, and you seem to suffer no setbacks. So again, the item storage system, it is what it is. It's just a minor. It's just something that kind of takes you out of the game every once in a while. So yeah, also time now that I'm done with all my loot and putting it where I need to put it or where I want to put it. It's time to look at what I can level up. I'm at this point I'm 1 rank away from max warrior rank, which is awesome. So I'll just grab impact because it's an augment, which means I'll be able to put it up there and it'll just happen, and I'll knock foes down a bit more often. And at least when I selected it, I was hoping it related to, oh yeah, see that whole darkness thing at the beginning of this episode with the maelstrom? That wasn't even the advanced form of it. I can't wait to see the advanced form of it, because really I'm not going to see anything. I'm just going to be blind. Which is something that kind of threw me off, that Maelstrom would blind you like that when it's not doing any, like, it's not hurting you, but physically, but it does blind you. And it's just kind of odd that there's that, that little, I don't know, that difference where they're like, hey, so this thing's actually going to inhibit your ability to play the game, but don't worry, it's not kicking the crap out of you. I guess I would have expected them to have that not inhibit your your visibility. But again, design
What will it
decisions,
be today?
whatever, it's
Have
fine.
your pick. Any you like.
But I ended up picking
What will it be today?
impact at this point, the augment impact, because one, I was hoping that now Mighty Swing will kick more guys into the air more often, because that's hilarious, and hopefully Indomitable Charge will do more. But so here we are.
Here we can rest,
We're finally
inventory and
done with
space, and so on.
dastardly Griffin. Next episode, we're actually going to turn in the quest and see where we go from there. I just want to say again, thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for being patient and waiting for this next episode to come up. And I will see all of you next time.